Welcome to my kitchen and to this first session together, Nourish Your Radiance, as we begin to dive into the world of nutrition and how this contributes to our energy. I want to begin with a story about the third child in my family. There were only two kids, but there was another kind of sibling that we grew up alongside of, which was Buttercup, my dad's MG. So right around the time I was maybe like 5, my dad bought these two identical old British racing cars that were about as old as he was. I think they were like late 1940s, early 1950s, called MGs. They were MGAs. There's a couple of models. And my dad has had this car for as long as I've been alive, so over 40 years, and he's been restoring it and tinkering with it, and truly, I mean, it's beautiful. Everything that could have been elevated and upgraded on this car has been, and he races it to this day. He's had it for, over 40 years. And when I was when I was about 16 and I was learning how to drive, and my dad was kind of taking me around with him, and we stopped one time to get gas. We were in the MG. And I got out to get gas, and just by default, I went for the cheap, the cheapest gas grade, the lowest gas grade. And my dad just stopped me and said, no. This car gets the high grade gas. You never put low grade fuel in a Ferrari. You don't put low grade fuel in a Ferrari. And that line has always stuck with me. This car was not a Ferrari. It had way more character than that. But to this day, my dad will take this car and race it on, these desert racetracks. And British cars are actually, it's kind of a joke that they tend to break down, right? And so the fact that this car is in such incredible condition is this testament to how it has been cared for, and very particularly how it has been fueled, how its engine has been cared for. When you look at human longevity, when you look at just the human lifespan, even like 400 years ago, it was under 50 years old, sometimes as low, depending on when and where, sometimes as low as like 20 to 30 years old. The fact that we can live now to our 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond is this extraordinary testament in many ways to how our nutrition has improved, what technology has allowed for us. But in this world of technology, in this world that never shuts off, the lights can always be turned on, the internet is always running, we can kind of forget that we are these machines. We are these organisms who have needs. We don't just run forever. The human body is kind of incredibly resilient in that we can survive on very little. We can survive on very low quality. We can survive on low quality love. We can survive, it's mind-blowing the degree of abuse that we can survive. You can live on a junk food diet of just white flour and preservatives for a long time, a remarkably long time. But what we've also seen is, alongside this incredible increase in longevity over the last few years, we've also seen a mind-blowing rise in chronic diseases like diabetes, like heart disease, and many cancers, many of which can be directly tied to the long-term effects of our nutrition and of stress, as we've talked about in another session together. So we have needs, and one of the that's just something I want to pause over and really honor. Like, we can't go. You can, like I said, go on low grade love, low grade nutrition, low grade sleep for a while, but that will have long-term effects. So we have these needs that we need to honor, and to the degree that we honor them, we can be incredible miracle machines, as I like to think of our bodies, or just like my dad's 70-something-year-old racing car that is as old as he is can just blow your mind with its energy and its speed and its beauty. So first and foremost, we do have needs that need to be honored. And I want to invite us to shift our thinking from needs to pleasures, that it can be a pleasure to honor these needs. I mean, how good does it feel to sleep in on a morning where you don't have anywhere that you need to be, and that turnover in bed where you just decide, I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna rest, or just to lay in a hammock and read a book, or to take a nap, or just to go for a run, right? To eat a meal, all of the pleasures of eating a meal. So yes, we have these needs, but fulfilling these needs, honoring these needs can be a rhythm of pleasure in our life. It's not drudgery, it can be pleasure to honor all the things that we require. And I want to invite you to make this shift. I've titled this session, Nourish Your Radiance. So I want to invite us to make a shift in thinking about beauty as radiance. What is radiance? It's an emanation of light. It's an emanation of energy. So what I love about radiance, which is my goal, and when I think about what it is that I'm doing when I eat, this is my goal now, is to nourish my radiance. Because what I love about radiance is that it's an attribute of beauty that we have as long as we're alive. You can think of a radiant 60-year-old, a radiant 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 90-year-old. I think about, there's this wonderful documentary that was recently done and a book that was done called The Book of Joy, about this conversation, this meeting between the Dalai Lama and Bishop Tutu. And they're these old men, I think they're past 70, let's just say that. And they were at the end of their lives, and they're just radiating joy and love. These two men who have given their lives to being leaders of service and peace, to becoming spirited leaders. So radiance is something that we can have our whole lives if we nourish it, if we attend to it. So I want to invite you to really start to make that a central focus and goal. Radiance has nothing to do with meeting an external standard of beauty, right? Or an external standard of how your body is meant to look. But radiance is very definitely a feeling. You know those days where you're energized and your radiance has this connection to creativity, right? Creativity is an outward expression. It's a gift to the world. Whatever it is that you create is a gift to the world. And radiance similarly is this kind of outward emanation. It's how we're shining, the quality of our shine, the quality of our energy. So I love this mantra that came to me this last year: body before business, body before business, body before business. And I just use business in this like overarching category of all of the demands that I feel on me, right? All of the pressures that I feel about making a living, taking care of these people that I am entrusted with, all of these kind of external pressures. Body before business, the quality of my body before as my highest priority. And that can feel, and so often, maybe very much the reason why you're here in this Ignite reset, is you're feeling like your energy is dull, it's drained, it's sapped, you're exhausted in a certain way. And that can happen in part because we can let ourselves give all of our energy away and not prioritize recharging our energy, because that can feel selfish. And I want to invite us to really actually think about that for a minute. A woman who cares for herself exquisitely teaches the world her worth, first of all, but also teaches the world to care for themselves exquisitely. You've seen this. You've been in the presence of someone, an elder who cares for themselves exquisitely, who is boundaried in what they allow into their lives, who they allow into their lives, how much energy, just very basically what they're saying yes to, because they're attuned to what they require at that season of their lives, at that moment of their lives. And that's an important thing to bring up, because our needs to recharge our energy change given on what's going on in our lives, right? But you caring for yourself is actually a gift to the world, because first of all, it teaches the world your value. We teach the world our value. The way we treat ourselves teaches the world how to treat us. The way we honor and value ourselves, our time, our own energy teaches the world, everyone we work with, our family, all of our relationships, how valuable we are. That's on our shoulders. But also, again, someone who cares for themselves beautifully and prioritizes that teaches everyone around them that, hey, that's an option. You're worth that kind of care. I say this especially to mothers often, that your children don't need you 100% of the time. And this can apply to all. This is not just parenting. This is all of our relationships. We're not needed 100% of the time. We might think that we are, or be trained to think that we are. We're needed at 100%. So the time that we are present, to be giving ourselves 100%, and to be able to give 100% to whatever it is that I'm doing, whatever interactions that I'm having, I have to recharge myself. And again, that changes in every season of my life, what is needed to recharge myself. Also, and I want to especially say this to mothers or leaders or caretakers, I want to ask you this question. What are you modeling to all of the people who you lead, children who you lead, team members who you lead, family, friends who you lead? I want us to all think of ourselves as leaders in that way. What are you modeling? So a mother, for example, who just gives all of her energy away to her children, to her family, to her job, and feels like that's just what is expected of her, feels like that is what good motherhood looks like, is teaching her children that same kind of martyrdom. Or teaching her team, teaching everyone who she leads that same kind of martyrdom. Is that what you want to model? Is that what you really want for these people that you love deeply? Do you want these people that you love deeply in your life to actually care for themselves as the miraculous, incredible, and also finitely energied people that we are? We're not people of infinite energy. We're people of finite energy. We are batteries that need to be recharged. Bodies are batteries that need to be recharged. So that's just a lot of context that I want to invite you to think about, because as we think about nutrition as input that shapes the quality of our output, in the same way that you don't put low-grade fuel in a Ferrari, you don't put low-grade fuel in Buttercup, right? As we nourish ourselves to the highest quality, we are honoring all of the creative work that we're here to do in the world. We're saying that the presence that I offer to the world, the creations that I offer to the world, I want to be at the highest possible quality. So then I want the highest possible quality coming into myself. Yes, that is food, of course. We're going to talk about that. What is high quality, high vibrational food? That's how I like to think about it, high vibe food. But every kind of input. So these are the thoughts that you're allowing to loop in your minds. These are all of the forms of media that you're bringing into your life, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're giving your attention to. So I want to invite us all, me included, to up-level the quality of fuel that we're giving ourselves, because we are also honoring the quality of creation that we're here to bring to the world, the radiance that we want to be cultivating and recharging our whole entire lives. So let's begin this journey into resetting our nutrition with that mindset, and with this very broad understanding of nutrition as all the inputs that nourish us. Yes, food, but thoughts and media and everything that we give our attention to. A few things that I want to invite you into if you want to deepen in this work. First of all, my program Energize is a 28-day full reset of your nutrition. We explore things like when we're eating and why we're eating. That's really the focus of Energize, is why we are eating. Learning to notice when we are feeding ourselves food when actually we are hungry for something else. We're hungry for love, we're hungry for significance, we're hungry for creative creations. If you know that nutrition is something that you really want to refine in your life, you want to do a deep dive on, and particularly if you have a weight loss goal, but you want to come at it in a sustainable way, in a way that honors your whole entire person, that doesn't abandon any part of you, as so many diets ask us to do, that's a way that is going to allow you to feel in your body lifelong at your highest energy. So it's not a quick fix, but it's a deep change. I want to invite you into my program Energize, this 28-day transformation with a focus on nutrition. So we go deep into this whole concept of eating for energy. And it seems so simple, but it's such a paradigm shift for many of us. The quality of our food, we go deeply into macronutrients, into what does it look like to be aware of what we're eating, but not obsessive. That line between awareness and obsession, which is so important. We also talk about intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating, and the benefits of some of that, especially the healing benefits, the autophagenic, the cellular autophagy that can happen when you give your body a break from constant digestion. But how do we engage that in a way that honors our hormones? And especially, I speak especially to women on this, because intermittent fasting for women can have more significant effects on our whole hormonal system, and especially as we age. Really important conversation. And what does it look like to, again, create this sustainable approach to food that is a deep healing of your mindset toward your body image as well, that you can carry lifelong? So that's one invitation. Another invitation to you, especially if you're hearing some of these thoughts about honoring your time, making sure that you're recharging yourself, and you look at your schedule right now, and I hear people often, especially in my one-on-one work with clients, say things like, my schedule's crazy, or things are just crazy. My schedule's out of control. And that right there is an invitation actually to live by design rather than default, to become the architect and the designer of our life, while still honoring that life has its flow and swerves and unexpected surprises. But that being said, I want to live by design. I want to live with intentionality. So if that is also something that you're really feeling like you want to do deeper work in, my visionary course, especially volume 1, your dream year, is a great place to do some deep work over what are you aiming for and how are you designing your life around that, as well as the workshop, the Time Edit, which is linked here, and one-on-one work with me if that's something that you really feel like you'd like to dive into. So, nourish your radiance. We're going to begin in this deep dive into food and nutrition to nourish our radiance.